Yo, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to Soundoff. This is your boy K Paper Chase. It's been a while since I've been here, but I had to get back because today we're going to do the part three of the quantum leap. Now, I did this, I call it the trilogy because I did a part one and a part two. So if you haven't seen the part one and part two, definitely go back and check those out because those are what's going to be the foundation for what I'm talking about today. All right, so in part one of the quantum leap, we talked about Schrodinger's cat and we talked about the double slit experiment. And that was just basically just saying how atoms have what's called a superposition. So everything is everywhere all at the same time until we measure it. When we take the time to look at something and measure something, that's when it takes a location. So it's almost like the old thing that you used here back in the day, and it used to say, if a tree falls in the forest, if there's no one there to hear it, it doesn't make a sound, does it? And that's what we're going to get into today. So I talked about that on the first video. And on the second video, um, what I talk about on the second video? Second video, I talked about micro and macro. Okay, the micro and the macro is how the things that are very, very small compares to the things that are very, very big, and how it's like a symbiotic relationship between those two things. So yeah, definitely check out those videos because it's going to make a lot of sense in what we're talking about today. So once you learn the secrets of reality, you can start creating your world. I noticed that a lot of people wait on outside factors to influence them or to change their energy or for something to happen. It's like they're sitting and they're waiting for something on the outside. But when you're creating your world, it should come from the inside. So instead of waiting for an outside stimulus to make us do something or change our paradigm or something like that, let's change it on the inside and then we can change our outside. So once we learn how this reality works, we can do that. And I do it all the time. It's very possible. And this video is going to teach you how to do that. Okay, so let's go back. All right. So if the world is infinite, which I believe the world is infinite, then that means that every possibility is happening right now. Everything is now. So for something to happen, it's not like you have to wait for a certain time period for it to happen. Rather, what you're trying to do, you're trying to change your vibration and get on the same vibration or the wavelength of the thing that you're trying to achieve, and then you can do it now. So I made this slide right here, and I think it's kind of interesting. It'll kind of help you understand it a little bit. So yeah, the world is infinite. So that means that everything you could possibly imagine, even everything that you can't imagine, everything is everything. And it's going on, and it's going on right now, and it's going on forever. It never stops, every possibility. So if we think of reality like a roll of film, then each slide is a different parallel universe, right? We're able to jump and that's make a leap from one slide to the next slide. Now, the thing about it is, the further you get away and the further the slides are separated, the harder it is to jump. Because most of the time when we do a quantum jump, we're just jumping from one slide to maybe the next slide or the slide after that. And what happens is when they're closer together, they're still parallel universes. But what happens is the differences are so small. So you might jump into another slide and the difference is so small. Like this is the slide where I found my car keys. My car keys were just lost. So that's what it is. So we jump back and forth, and it's really a little bit of change every single day. And be careful because you can jump up and you can jump back. So we don't want to regress and go to another parallel universe or go somewhere where things aren't as good as they are here. And you can't do that. I've done that several times. We do this hundreds of times a day, even without knowing it. So every time we make any kind of decision, the universe splits off and we can either go one way or the other way. And wherever we take our consciousness, as far as whatever we observe and whatever we make the decision to be, that's the world that we'll be in. So yeah, we're able to jump. We can make a leap from one frame to the next. And the closer the frames are, the more similar the worlds will be. All right, so it's not really practical to try to do a quantum jump and you jumping into somewhere where you're a little baby or something like that. That's going to be harder to do just because it's so many frames between where you are now and where you are there. But what we can do, we can take baby steps, we can take incremental steps. And once we start taking those steps, it can get us where we need to go. All right, so the idea, okay, just the idea of making a quantum leap. This requires focus, and it requires a lot of focus on where you want your reality to be. That focus comes from inside. So you're always looking within. Once you get that focus from within, it's going to change your outside world. So I wanted to talk about something that's really important. It's called vibes, vibrations. We always talk about vibes, right? Oh yeah, I like your vibe. You got a good vibe. You always get vibes in here. Vibrations are important because even though we call them vibes, it is a scientific portion of this. Vibes are vibrations, and the vibrations is basically our electromagnetic field. So everybody has an electromagnetic field that surrounds them. Wherever you go, that magnetic field follows you, and it's basically a summary of you, your aura, your spirit, your feelings, your heart, everything is in this electromagnetic field. And like I said, some people call them auras, and they follow you. So this electromagnetic field that follows you is always looking for people with similar vibrations. So you probably heard people say that your vibe is your tribe, or your vibe attracts your tribe. It does, because whatever you're sending off in your aura or your vibe or your electromagnetic field is going out there and it's getting with other vibes that have the same kind of vibration, and they come together and you actually build things. You build thought forms. Everything is a thought, and this is how similar thoughts and ideas come together in order to create reality. Now, something that I think is real good too, as far as being a change of vibe, I think that people that are empaths, empathic people have an easier way just because they're more sensitive. Okay, so if you don't know what an empath is someone that can feel other people's feelings, they can feel their emotions. I'm able to do that. It's not like I'm reading people's mind because I don't know exactly what you think, but my mind showing colors. So I might see a certain color or imagine a certain color with a person, and that color is not telling me exactly what they're thinking on their mind, but it's giving me their vibration. It's telling me where their vibe is at this time. It's giving me their vibration. So if you're an empath, you should be able to pick up on stuff like this pretty good. And it should be a little bit easier to change your vibration being an empath because you just have so many feelings and you're aware of how to do that. So yeah, man, good stuff. So yeah, the empath, and I know kind of being an empath can be hard sometimes because you feel like you're constantly being bombarded with stuff, and you're being bombarded from other people's feelings and stuff like that, and it's hard to get away sometimes. But we got to learn how to use that as a tool instead of, you know what I'm saying, instead of something that'll hurt us or make us not want to go somewhere or do something because we worry about these crazy ass people outside and if they're gonna bring your vibrations down. You know what I'm saying? So we got to make sure that we doing that. And I'm gonna make a video about empaths too. Okay, so a new paradigm is ahead. All right, so once we start using these steps, I'm about to give you some steps. So once we start using these steps, you'll see stuff start to change in your world. This isn't something that's going to be instantaneous. It's going to take a while. It does take practice. Anything that you do, as far as any kind of mental work or anything like that, it's going to take practice. You're not going to be able to just wake up one morning and say, "Hey, I got it." It's going to take practice. It's going to take work. You know, you're going to have to go deep down inside yourself, have that dark night of the soul to do whatever you got to do in order to get that balance. So it does take work, and it's not something that you would just be able to do, you know, without any practice. But what I want to do is I want to give you some ideas and some different tips on how to do this. And I think it'll make it a whole lot easier once you get these tips. Okay. All right. So the first one I said is meditate. Now it depends on the particular person. Um, Meditation is hard for me. I mean, I'm learning how to do it a little bit better now, but it's hard because it takes, yeah, you just have to be still. I'm kind of hyper person. You have to be still and you have to concentrate and you have to meditate. One thing that I do when I meditate that helps me is just imagine a blue box, or it can be a red box. It can be any kind of box you want, but you want to imagine this box in your head, right? And try to hold that box for as long as you can. Now, when you first do it, when I first did it, I wasn't even able to hold the box long at all. I mean, I could probably hold it for 2 or 3 seconds, and then I'm thinking about something else. But what happens as you get better and better at it, holding that box, you'll be able to hold that box. And once you have the vision of that blue box in your mind, what'll happen is once you have it in a certain frame, you'll start to drift off a little bit. And when you drift off, just let it go. And that's going to be when you're meditating. You can kind of like a deeper part of your brain. So definitely meditate. That's one hack that can really bring your vibrations up, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get on the same vibration as what we're trying to achieve. So if we're trying to go to a parallel universe or make a quantum jump or make a quantum leap, or we're trying to transurf, whatever you want to call it, we just got to make sure that we're vibrating on the level that we want to go to. So of course, if it's something higher that you're trying to reach than you are now, you would have to vibrate on a higher consciousness. Now, how should I put this? Vibrations are not necessarily good or bad. Most of the time, we do say the higher vibrations are, it's lighter, it's higher beings, and most of these people are with their highest chakras, up from the crown chakra all the way down, and maybe the heart chakra, maybe. Those are the higher vibrations. And then we have lower vibrations, which is like the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus chakra. All right. So I wouldn't say that being on a high vibration all the time is necessarily the best thing. What we're trying to do, remember, we're trying to reach that balance. So I can see where you might need all vibrations. Yeah, if you're trying to ascend to a higher level, if you're trying to get somewhere higher than you are, of course, you need to vibrate higher. But we still need to have the balance so that we can use that root chakra if we need to. We might be in a situation that's life or death. We might be in the physical world, something very grounded, very physical. We're going to need that root chakra because those are all our animal instincts and our urges. So it's not necessarily to stop vibrating on a lower level as much as it is to find balance. Okay. So yeah, so you're gonna need those low vibrations, you're gonna need those high vibrations, and you adjust those to whatever situation that you're in. Okay. So yeah, so definitely do that. You can medicate, tape. You can listen to the binaural beats. A lot of people find those helpful. There are hemisync. You can go to YouTube, and there are hemisync binaural beats, and you listen to it. And what it does is it it balances your left and your right brain. So that's something that you can go to sleep to. That's something that's really good. And I think that that really helps clearing you out. Now, a lot of times people say, hey, I listened to a binaural beat or I did some meditation and something bad happened. I had a bad thought or something like that. So it's evil. I'm not doing it anymore. We got to realize that these bad thoughts are coming from you. So whenever you get to a point where you're going inside yourself, when you're meditating, when you're looking within and bad stuff comes out, you don't want to stop. You want to keep going because you got to purge that stuff. And you can't purge that bad stuff out of you if you're running from yourself. And that's part of the reason of going within, so you can know yourself, the good and the bad. And you got to have that balance. If you're always running every time you try to meditate, something evil happens, or you see something, or you get scared or something like that, then that must mean that you still need to do it. So always go through it. Everything isn't going to be good. We are good and bad. And you have to recognize the bad stuff, and you just like you recognize the good stuff. You could be an asshole as long as you know you're an asshole. You know yourself, and that's the main thing. We're not going to always be able to be higher than thou, vibrating on this higher heavenly level. Sometimes it's necessary to have a lower vibration, so you should be able to switch between those two. Okay. Another tip is protect your energy. All right, so we were talking about vibes earlier. Some people's auras or electromagnetic fields or their vibes are stronger than other people. Um, yeah, some people's vibes are real strong. Have you ever went somewhere? I mean, I went somewhere and you just walk into a room. Everybody can be doing what they want to do in the room. You walk into the room. It's like the music stops, everything stops, and the people look up at you. That's a vibe. You know what I'm saying? Once your aura gets so big and your vibe gets so big, people actually know you're coming before you come. So if you are one of those people, that have an influence, you can kind of like change the room. You can change the vibes and stuff. Use that to your benefit because that means you have a big aura and people can feel you. So if people can feel you, then you want to use that energy for a good thing. And you also want to protect it. Something that I noticed, whoa, something I noticed about having your aura or whatever is that you do attract people. Your vibe attracts your tribe. I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? You're going to attract people that are on a like mindset, but you're also going to protect. You're also going to attract lower vibration people. These people, they're going to want to latch on to you. They like the energy you bring. You know what I'm saying? They like the way people react to you. They're going to try to latch on to you, not necessarily for a good thing, not because they like you, just because they're like clout chasing. They ain't really clout chasing because vibes ain't no clout, but they want to feel that feeling. So protect your energy. Try to hang out with people that have similar ideas and stuff like that. But you can hang with other people. But all I'm saying is, if you're going to be around them, protect your energy. So if you're around an energy vulture or somebody that's always on some bullshit, always talking stuff like bring you down, you know how you feel when you talk to them. Something I always say is establish a baseline. All right, so my baseline is how I feel or how I want to feel when I go somewhere. So the baseline is where you can always kind of come back to. So once you figure out how you want to move, what you want, where you're trying to go, and how your vibe should be, that should be your baseline. Whenever you go somewhere, whether it's out with family, friends, whether it's to Walmart, anything like that, always try to keep your baseline. And by keeping that, you'll know whether you like out of your element or in your element. And that's another thing too. Sometimes we need to be outside our element. In order to do things like this, in order to, change your realities and stuff like that, you have to be out of your element sometimes. And that means sometimes you have to be uncomfortable. You have to talk to people that make you a little uncomfortable. You might have to have conversations or just be in a predicament or in a situation that you would rather not be in. We need to use those as learning tools. Because just think about it. Anything that's making you that uncomfortable, you get uncomfortable about something, it's really bending you out of shape. You need to find out why that is. You need to find out why you feel like that. So most often the things that make us the most uncomfortable, those are the things that we need to deal with because it's saying something about ourselves. And once you get into yourself and start to learn yourself, you'll realize why these certain topics or words or situations or whatever make you so uncomfortable. It comes from you. It's not that person, it's you. Something in them you're seeing or something that's making you uncomfortable. And you need to check that out, man. That's really important to do that. So definitely do that. So anything that you feel uncomfortable talking about, anything you feel that's out of your element, that's out of your vibe, go ahead and embrace it and see what happens. Okay, limiting beliefs. Okay, so they can be major roadblocks. So, of course, if we always think that we're bound to be poor or we're bound to be nothing, of course, when we try to do this, raise our vibrations, it's going to be hard because once we get to that certain level, it's going to keep knocking us down. So, you need to let go of those limiting beliefs. And the only way you can let go of that limiting belief is by really knowing yourself. If you don't know yourself, you can't let go of the beliefs because you really think that you are what you think you are. So that's why you go inside yourself. You want to check out the good and you want to check out the bad. And remember my video on karma. That's why that's so important because you can actually make bad karma by yourself for yourself by doing good things. If you believe you ain't shit, I ain't shit, I ain't gonna never be nothing. When you go try to get that job because you're going against something that you believe in, it might be bad karma. So we got to change ourselves from the inside. And once we start changing these things, it'll be easier for us to make that next shift or that next jump to the next, to the next universe, to the next world. And then a couple more tips. I want to say just start to embody the person that you want to be now. A lot of people have problems with it. I'm not saying I'm not saying that you need to deny reality. I mean, we all need to be grounded enough to see what's really going on. But what I'm saying is, if you broke, you're broke. I don't talk like that. I am. That's one of the two of the most powerful words in the English language. So I don't say that I'm broke. Even though I might not have any money in my pocket, I'm not going to say it. So what you want to do, you want to embody the identity of who you're trying to be. I'm not saying be crazy and don't look at reality, but if you always complain about something, you're saying, I am this, I am that, then you're going to really do that because your subconscious is going to do everything in its power to make you what you say you are. So you want to align your behaviors, your habits, your choices with the success that you already envision. And yeah, visualization is very important. This is your secret weapon. You want to visualize yourself where you already want to be. Um, a lot of people think that visualizing is just sort of like having a daydream. Okay, I'm just going to dream about this and be on my way. But it's more than that because when you're really visualizing, what's going to happen with the visualizing. When you're really visualizing, you're going to actually be there. You should be able to hear stuff. So when you visualize, you're just not picturing something that's happening in your brain. You're acting like you're really there. So you're trying to smell stuff. What does it smell like? What do you see? Is it wind blowing? Is it cold? Can you hear anything? You have to use all your senses. And I'll tell you another little secret. You have to visualize. You have to have a feeling at the same time that you visualize when you have a feeling. And if you do that at the same time, it helps with the manifestation. Because remember, our feelings are the most powerful things that we can portray as far as brain waves. So if we're visualizing something and we have a feeling that's deep in here, like a real feeling, and you're visualizing at the same time, then that will happen. And it happens every time. It's never failed. So always try to do both of those things at the same time. And it's hard. Something I do if you want to cheat, well, it's not really cheat, it's like a hack. You know what I'm saying? If you hit your toe, instead of saying, oh shit, you can say money, money, money. Oh, that's my money, that's my money. Hey, it actually works because you're using that emotion from that pain from your foot. Instead of calling on something bad, you're saying money, money, money. And at that time, if you have a visualization about that money, the same time when you're in emotion about stumping your toe, it's going to happen. So that's how it works. That's really how it works. So yeah, that's a good hack. So always try to use that. You broke up with your girlfriend, you crying, yo, you upset, yo, use that upset, use that anger to manifest something. That's what you do. You do it when you get mad, when you're in your feelings. You're gonna go ahead and visualize. I mean, you can also do like you can say little things. I am rich, I am whatever. When you repeat something in your mind, what it does, it programs your subconscious. So if you say something long enough, you're gonna really believe it. That's why they say that people believe their lies. Have you ever seen that? A compulsive liar, they actually believe their lies because they said those lies so many times that they believe it. So why can't we use that to believe our lies? And we say, hey, I'm rich. I'm K paper chase. I'm K rich. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say because I'm gonna start believing that. Once I start believing that, once I get it in my head, it's gonna happen. It's gotta happen. And remember, it's already happening. It's right here, right now. We're just trying to adjust ourselves to the right wavelength so that we can jump on there. But everything is here. Everything is now. All right. Precautions. Okay. All right. So here's a precaution. Over potential. All right. So this is something that I would go through a lot when I was manifest, especially when I first started working on this brain hacks and manifesting and stuff like that. It can be very hard when you have over potential. All right, so they say when you want something, you're supposed to eat, drink, breathe it. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to just become part of you. And I feel you. It is supposed to become part of you. You live it, you drink it, you eat it, you feel it, and you know it's going to happen. But sometimes what I found out, you can do too much. You can have over potential, and I've done this so many times, where you're living something so much that you've tipped the scales so much that it can't happen. Because remember, everything is striving for balance. So if you're all the way over this side and there's nothing to counteract it, whatever you're waiting for, you're probably not going to get it because the universe is going to be on the other side pushing against you. So sometimes what I do, I just did that and it really works. Take a mental break. Take a mental break. Don't do any visualizations. Don't do any incantation. Don't do any of that stuff. Don't do your meditation. Don't do any of that stuff because as part of being creators, what we have to learn is once you create it, once you say in your head that it's done, you should have confidence that it's done. What I used to do, I used to say stuff out loud and repeat it out loud and just kind of like overdoing it just to make sure it really gets out there. But that's not necessary. Once you start manifesting and you start jumping around and stuff, you'll get a confidence and you'll know, hey, I only have to say that a couple of times and you go on about your business. You rest on your laurels and whatever you want is going to come to you. So sometimes you have to take a mental break, free your mind, don't do any meditation. Don't do any kind of mental work or anything like that, especially if you've been working hard on it for a while. Once I free my mind, I take a break. Believe it or not, that's when stuff starts happening. So it's like, damn, as soon as I stop meditating about such and such, it happens. So yeah, don't fall into the over potential trap because sometimes you can push so much and do so much, it causes that over potential, and the universe has no choice but to bring you back down. So always be cognizant of that too. Okay. Yeah, so don't think about changing realities like going on a trip through space. All right. So it's no space on top of our heads. There's nowhere that you gotta jump to in the universe or anything like that. We're just changing our vibrations to meet what's already here, already now. Everything is happening right here, right now. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go miles and miles into space. You don't have to go through time. You just have to adjust your vibration to where you want to be. Since everything is happening right here, right now, you can change just like that. It can be a drop of a hat and you can change. No such thing as outer space. Our outer space is inner space, right? So inner space is outer space. So if ever you want to explore, you have any questions about the cosmos or where you come from, or anything like that, that starts from within. So instead of looking outside yourself, up to a deity or outer space, or something like that, look from within because every thought that you have is the real Big Bang. That's how you create something with a thought. That's how everything is created. So always remember that. And I think that's all I had, y'all. I'm really in a rush today. Yo, this AC isn't working. It's hot as hell in here. I wanted to get this video because I had so many questions about the part one and the part two. And this is part three. So it's just talking about how. So I wanted to get some tips. I wanted to get some precautions just to help you on your way. What I also want to do is I want to go live about this just because there's so many questions. Like I said, my AC is broken right now. My computer's acting up. So I just wanted to bring this video, but be on the lookout because what I'm going to do a live version of this. And everybody will be able to come in and call in and we can really have a dialogue about it. And I would like to hear about y'all's ideas or have you ever experienced a quantum leap or a change in consciousness or a jump or anything like that? I like to talk to other people to see how, you know what I'm saying, to see how it worked out with them. So I'm signing off. Hey, I want to thank y'all for joining. We got more to come. We're going to go live with this trilogy, and the final part is going to be live. And I want to say thank you for joining. It's your boy K Paper Chase. Sound off. Be good.